Hello students, my name is Nirbhay Jadhav and I am here to teach you physics. This lecture is for class 7th and we are going to discuss the two topics, that is a hydrometer and speed from the chapter physical quantities and measurement. And these two topics are the last two topics of the chapter number 1. So let us begin with the video. So basically, what is hydrometer? In the previous lecture we have studied about the density, that what a density is and how we are going to calculate the density. Okay, so we learned the formula that density we can calculate with the help of the formula m into n, where m stands for the mass of the molecules and n stands for the number of molecules. So here we are having one instrument that is known as a hydrometer, and with the help of this instrument or say device we are going to calculate the value of the density of particular liquids. So basically, what is hydrometer? It is a device used to measure the density of liquids. Okay, so whatever the liquids you have, you can just put the hydrometer inside that liquid and you can find out the density of that particular liquid. It is just like how you are measuring the temperature of a liquid using the thermometer. Same like that, you can use the hydrometer to find out the density of a liquid. Okay, so let us study how the hydrometer looks like. Okay, so hydrometer, at the end of the as the thermometer, you know, at the end one bulb will be there. Inside that bulb mercury is filled inside it. Okay, so hydrometer also has the same thing. At the end portion, or say at the bottom of that, one bulb will be there, and inside that bulb mercury is there. Either mercury is there or lead is there. Now the use of this is for making the hydrometer in a upright position. Whenever you place a hydrometer inside a liquid, what happens? It is possible that hydrometer gets tilted like this or like that in any direction. So to make it stand upright in a position, in the bottom we have filled mercury or a lead. Okay, and there will be a narrow stem over there on the hydrometer on which the scalings will be there. So as soon as the hydrometer sink inside the liquid, so the liquid, the portion where the liquid is reaching, and that portion and the scale, you can match that and you can find out the relative density of that particular liquid. So maybe it look like confusing, but we'll make it clear with the help of the pictures and images. So from that you will able to understand that how we will calculate the density of a liquid using a hydrometer. So okay, this is the how a hydrometer looks like. On the image it is given. Now we'll see how it is used. Okay, so let us quickly look at that. So here we are having a two case A and case B. Look at the case A. The hydrometer is synced inside the liquid more compared to the case B. Now this scale, okay, up to this portion the hydrometer A has been synced inside the liquid. So this value will tell us the density of a liquid, that is 1.150. Okay, and look in the case B, it is not that much synced compared to the case A. It has synced only the half portion of the hydrometer and it gives you the value 1.280. So from this comparison we can say that case B is having a more density than case A. It means the molecules in this liquid are not that much densely packed. As a result, the hydrometer is able to sink inside the liquid more compared to the second case. So this is how you can calculate the density of a liquid. Let us look at one more case. Here we are having a three case total. One is the filtered water, second is the tap water, and the third is the salted water. So filtered water means RO water, in which all the minerals and everything is removed and it is very pure water. So as a result, the hydrometer will sink inside the liquid more, or say most. Okay, so the density of this liquid will be very less. Where look at the second case, it is a tap water, the water which you are getting from the municipality. Okay, that is also filtered one, but not that much compared to the RO water. So the hydrometer will sink inside the water, but not that much compared to the filter water. And the last case is the salted water. It means the sea water, in which the more amount of minerals will be there. More amount of minerals means the density of a liquid is more. When the density of the liquid is more, it means your hydrometer is not going to sink more compared to the, if you compare it with the first and the second case, that is a filtered water and a tap water. Okay, let us quickly take one more example. Say practically, if we want to see how the hydrometer sinks, so we can take one example. Say one funnel is there, in that we have kept few particles, and on the other side we are also inserting a hydrometer into it. So as you go on in say adding the particles into it, it means what you are doing, you are increasing the density. More and more particles you are adding to the liquid, it means you are increasing the density. And as you go on increasing the density, the hydrometer will, say the direction of the hydrometer will go in the upward direction. It means slowly this reading is going to increase. Okay, like this. Say it is a pure water. When you add few minerals, it will rise up. Again adding on few more, it will again rise up. Okay, so this is how you can calculate the density of a liquid. I hope you are clear with the device hydrometer and how to use that. Now let us quickly move to our next topic, that is a speed. Now what is speed? Speed is nothing but, say a speed of a body is defined as the distance covered by the body in unit time. What is the speed? Speed of a body is defined as distance covered by the body in unit time. So this is how we can define the speed, that is a speed is equals to distance upon time. Say you are traveling in a particular distance and you have covered that distance in a particular time. So when you have distance as well as you have a time, when you take the ratio of that, you will end up getting the speed of that particular body. Okay, so speed is nothing but distance upon time. If you have distance as well as time, you can calculate speed. Also, if you have speed and distance, using that you can calculate time. And if you have, say, time and speed, you can calculate the distance. That is a out of 3, if any 2 data is there with you, you can calculate the third one. Speed has only magnitude and no direction. Hence, speed is a scalar quantity. Now, what do you mean by the scalar quantity? Say, if I tell you that a bus is moving, or say bus is having a speed of 100 km per hour. Okay, so here I am giving you only the one information, that is a magnitude, a number I am giving you, that is 100 km per hour. It means you know the magnitude that a bus is traveling with the speed of 100 km per hour. 100 means that is a magnitude. But did I give you any information that where the bus is traveling, in which direction it is traveling? Either it is traveling in north, south, east, west. So here one information is missing, that is the direction. Now if I say a bus is traveling with 100 km per hour to, say, Vadodara, it means in this I am giving you the information for direction also, that it is traveling to the particular place, okay, the Vadodara. And Vadodara, okay, so that gives you a particular information about magnitude as well as the direction. So when we talk about speed, it gives only the information about magnitude, but it doesn't give information about direction. That is why it is known as a scalar quantity. But if I compare the speed with the velocity, in velocity we have magnitude also as well as the direction. Then we cannot say it is a scalar quantity, then we'll say as a vector quantity. Okay, so that is the basic difference between a scalar quantity and vector quantity. Scalar quantity doesn't give you information about direction, while vector quantity gives information about direction. So in scalar you can get both the information about magnitude as well as direct magnitude but no direction, while in vector you will get both the information, that is a magnitude and direction. Okay, so don't get confused in the scalar and vector. So still if you have any doubt, just rewind it and just make sure that you are clear with the concept. Okay, vector gives both the things, magnitude as well as direction, while the scalar only the magnitude. While the SI unit of speed is meter per second, and in CGS unit we are going to measure speed in centimeter per second. So that is the thing you need to remember, that SI unit of speed is meter per second. That is the most 1 mark question asked in the exam. Okay, so let us now take one example. So here there is a one case in front of us. One boy and a girl both are running. Okay, so a boy and a girl running a 100-meter race. So distance is given to us, that is 100 meter. Let they finish the race in 25 seconds and 20 seconds respectively. Now we have to find out using this information that who ran fast. So both boy and girl are running a 100-meter race. While the boy completes the race in 25 seconds, while the girl complete the race in 20 seconds. So from this information only we can say that girl has ran fast, because she has taken very less time compared to the boy. She finished the race in 20 seconds while the boy finished in 25 seconds. Okay. Now using this information we'll also calculate the speed. So speed of the boy will be equals to, say, what was the how to calculate the speed? That was a distance upon time, right? So distance in the numerator, distance is how much? That is 100 meter. And in the denominator we will write down the time, that is a 25 seconds. So 100 divided by 25 will give you 4 meter per second. That is the speed of a boy. Now let us find out the speed of a girl also. So again using the same formula, distance upon time, distance is the same, 100 meter divided by time. Now the girl is taking a 20-second time. So 100 divided by 20. So as an answer you will get a 5 meter per second. Okay, now if you compare the speed of both the boy and the girl, easily you can say that obviously the girl is running fast. Girl is having a speed of 5 meter per second, while the boy is running with the 4 meter per second. So that's it for this lecture. I hope you are clear with the topics hydrometer and speed. If you have any doubt, just be free to comment in the comment box. So in the next lecture we are going to start with the second chapter. Okay, so till you then, thank you.